This mama squirrel's name is Lucky. Today, she's moving her pups into a nest box which has been vacant for 6 months. It's not unusual for squirrels to move their pups as they get larger. This is my side yard, and this is 2 minutes earlier. If you look in the bottom of the screen, you can see Lucky, and then she's escorting her pup, which is about 6 or 7 weeks old, called Larry, and she's trying to escort him to the nest box. Usually they carry pups. Here she gets ambushed, which is really unusual. Squirrels don't tend to be territorial, but for some reason this squirrel, who's on what I call the fence highway, was quite unhappy with Lucky carrying her pup through, I'll call it his territory, her territory. I call this the fence highway. It's not unusual for there at least to be 5 or 6 different squirrels that use it throughout the day. So this was a fairly unusual scene to take place right here. Now, and I'll let you know, the pup, whose name is Larry, was not injured at all. He's totally fine. I know that because this was filmed 4 or 5 days earlier, and he's showing no signs of any injury or any trauma. Now, if you watch, she's going to come down and locate Larry, and then she's going to carry him the rest of the way. I'm showing this real time too because she ends up doing this with a total of 3 pups, and you can see she's going to get more and more tired, and she's going to take more and more rests when she's carrying the final pup, and so I thought I would just show it uncut just so you can get a feel of what's really going on. It makes for a slower video, but there's more content, or there's more precise indication of what's going on versus a lot of cuts. So here we're back in my front yard. She's running across this tree on the right I call the south tree. I also have a north tree which got damaged in a storm, and there's a squirrel box on that tree too, but it doesn't seem to be as popular now that the tree has lost about 2/3 of its branches and leaves. All right, so here she is once again with Larry. She's going to drop him off, and then she's going to be back in roughly 10 minutes. Now, what's sort of interesting is Larry has 2 other siblings, 2 other sisters, and for his whole life, he's always been around his mom or around his 2 other siblings. But she's going to take off and not be back for about 10 minutes, and so this is the first time in his life coming up here that he's ever been alone. As you can see, he might be a little startled from his encounter on the fence highway, but he's totally fine. Also, if you watched squirrels before, and I didn't realize this, I lived in this house for 20 years and just thought, hey, there's a squirrel. Squirrels have very different personalities. Some of them are super adventurous, some of them are super timid, some of them like to sleep a lot. This is Larry, and he's likes to be super active and always busy doing something. So he spends basically 10 minutes exploring the cage before Lucky comes back with the next pup. So this is Lucky when she's leaving. Runs across the yard, and then here she is now carrying her second pup, and I think this one's Lucy because there's 2 girls and 1 boy. So lucky for her this time, there's no encounters with the ambusher on the fence highway, but you can see she's taking more pauses, and she seems to be more out of breath, and this is just with her second pup that she's carrying. Also, I could never really figure out where her natural dray was, or where she was before I saw her with her pups this time. Obviously, it's somewhere west of my yard, but I have no idea where her dray was or whether she was in another smaller tree hollow. Also, once again, I mentioned this is uncut. I didn't edit out the periods where she's pausing to catch her breath. I just thought I'd leave it in here so you kind of see, as I said, how she gets more and more tired. Yeah, so Larry's been basically jumping around for the last 10 minutes. Yep, here it comes, Lucky with Lucy. Like I said, the squirrel box has been vacant for 6 months, and so for 6 months I'd been hoping for either a pregnant squirrel to move in and have her babies, or what this squirrel is doing, moving in her pups after they've been born and raised for about 5 weeks. Or in this case, I'm saying I think these are more like 6 or 7 weeks old. They're pretty large and pretty active. Squirrels are born with their eyes closed, and they typically don't open their eyes until they're around 5 weeks old. So obviously they're at least 5 weeks old. I know that from experience, and I would say from their size and the way they're acting, they're pretty close to 7 weeks. And once again, you can see there Lucy's sleeping, and Larry just can't get enough. He's very excited, very, very interested in his new surroundings. And in about, I think it was about 15-20 minutes later, here's Lucky once again with the third pup. This is Lizzie that she's carrying. And as I said, I didn't edit out the times when she's pausing. You can see she's pretty tired at this point. And fortunately, the ambusher has gone off. I also don't know whether that was a female or a male that was attacking her pup. So again, now we're in the front yard. On the left is the tree that has the other squirrel box in it, and that's the tree that was really damaged in a storm. Even though the trees are about 45 feet apart, their branches used to interleave, so they could get from one tree to the other without having to go on the ground. After the storm, it was all, I mean, like I said, 2/3 of the tree is gone, so now they can't jump from the one tree to the other. There it is. Lucy's still sleeping. Larry's still exploring. Then here they can hear their mom showing up. Yeah, you can see it's quite the struggle to get Lizzie inside. The mom, after dropping off the third pup, actually leaves them alone for around 7 hours, and then she'll show up. As I mentioned, this squirrel box had been vacant for 6 months, and I had been really looking forward to a family moving in. So I was super, super excited. And then, roughly 2 days after they moved in, Larry chewed through the cable on the internal camera view. And so, because of that, I'm going to show the whole I'm going to show the whole feeding cycle when the mom shows up. So here she's been gone for about 7 hours. A lot of times I would edit this down to like maybe 30 seconds, but because uh, there's no internal view anymore on the live stream, I decided I would go ahead and show the full 7 minutes of her feeding. Okay, so this is 2 days later. This is about a few minutes before Larry gets bored and decides to really explore the inside of the nest box. And then he climbs basically behind the camera and finds the cable and decides he's going to chew through the cable. There he is on the left, the little hooligan. There he is, eyeing the cable, the camera. Now you can just barely see him. There's a little black piece of cable that fell down there right where he landed. You can rewind it. You can see a little black speck where he was chewing through the cable. I almost think he got maybe an electric shock. The cameras are power over Ethernet, so they're powered by 48 volts. Won't kill you, but you'll definitely feel that, especially if it's in your mouth. Here he goes. Yep, and it's a bit of a bummer. 6 months of all the camera gear being set up to only end up with 2 days of mom and her pups, which is usually really fun to watch. Anyway, I made this video longer than usual just because we don't have the internal live feed. I appreciate you guys watching. It's always, any comments you have are always interesting. If you've stayed all the way to the end, I appreciate that. I love it when people take the time to give me an upvote. Well, thank you for doing that, and I hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks for watching. That's all for now.